You are standing 30 feet beneath the surface of the earth. The air here is heavy, hot, and smells of wet clay and diesel fumes. It is so quiet you can hear the blood rushing in your own ears. You are looking through the eyepiece of a laser surveyor's level. A thin red beam cuts through the dusty darkness, pointing north. Your hands are steady, but your shirt is soaked through with sweat. You check the coordinates on your tablet. You are exactly 4 inches off target. 4 inches. In the world above, 4 inches is nothing. Down here, 4 inches is the difference between breaking through the concrete floor of a warehouse in San Diego or hitting a gas main and incinerating everyone in this hole. You signal to the man in the front. He is covered in mud, his eyes wide and white in the gloom. He lifts a hydraulic spade. You nod. He starts to dig. You are not a criminal mastermind. You are not a drug lord. You are a civil engineer with a degree from a top university. You used to design drainage systems for shopping malls. Now, you are the chief architect of the Sinaloa cartel's most expensive asset, a super tunnel. Most people imagine a drug tunnel as a dirty hole in the ground, like something out of a prison escape movie. A narrow tube where you crawl on your belly, dragging a bag of weed. That is amateur hour. That is how you get caught. What you are building is a masterpiece of subterranean engineering. It costs $2 million to construct. It has reinforced concrete walls, a high-pressure ventilation system, industrial lighting, and a dual-rail electric railway system capable of moving 10 tons of cocaine per hour. It is not just a hole. It is an underground highway. And you are the only one who knows how to keep the roof from collapsing on top of the $50 million of product moving through it. Your day starts not in a hideout, but in a legitimate business. A warehouse on the outskirts of Tijuana. Maybe it's a furniture factory, or a granite import business. The cover has to be perfect. The cartel buys the land legally. They set up a real company. They pay taxes. They hire real workers who make real furniture upstairs. But in the back office, under a heavy hydraulic safe or a false shower floor, is the entrance. This is the portal. When you descend the ladder, the first thing that hits you is the heat. The earth is an insulator. With 10 men working in machinery running, the temperature stays at a constant 95 degrees. The ventilation pipe, a yellow plastic tube running along the ceiling, is your lifeline. It pumps fresh air from the warehouse AC unit down to the face of the tunnel. If that pump fails, carbon dioxide builds up within minutes. You don't choke, you just get sleepy. You sit down for a rest, and you never wake up. It's called the miner's peace. You check the fan every hour. The biggest challenge isn't the police, it's the dirt. Physics is your enemy. To dig a tunnel that is half a mile long, you have to remove tons of soil. You can't just pile it up outside the warehouse. Satellite imagery or a passing patrol car would spot the fresh earth immediately. This is where your engineering degree pays off. You don't dump the dirt, you recycle it. You designed a system where the excavated soil is mixed with cement to make concrete blocks for the fake construction company upstairs. Or you flush it down the storm drains during heavy rains. Or, in some cases, you simply raise the floor of the warehouse by 2 feet, spreading the dirt evenly and pouring new concrete over it. The dirt never leaves the building. It just disappears. You walk along the tracks. The tunnel is narrow, about 4 feet wide and 6 feet high. The walls are shored up with wood and steel beams every 3 feet. You check the pressure gauges on the hydraulic jacks. The soil here is sandy loam, unstable. If it shifts, the whole ceiling comes down. You hear the creaking of the wood. It's the earth settling. To a novice, it's a terrifying sound. To you, it's just the building talking. You know the stress limits. You know that you are digging under the international border fence right now. Above your head, there are motion sensors buried in the ground. There are seismic acoustic detectors that listen for the rhythmic thump-thump-thump of pickaxes. That's why you don't use pickaxes. You use pneumatic drills with mufflers, or silent hydraulic spades. You work slow. silence is more important than speed. If the border patrol hears a vibration, they don't dig you up. They just pour liquid concrete down a borehole and seal you in. You reach the face, the end of the tunnel where the digging happens. The gophers are working. These are the manual laborers. They are usually migrants who were promised passage to America. They don't know where they are. They live in the tunnel for weeks at a time. They sleep on cots in a widened chamber. They eat canned food. They are the engine of this machine, but they are disposable. You are not. You are the brain. The cartel enforcer stands behind them. He doesn't dig. He holds a radio and a pistol. He watches the gophers to make sure they don't steal or run. And he watches you to make sure you don't make a mistake. He calls you El Ingeniero, the engineer. He respects you, but you know that respect is based entirely on your utility. How far? He asks. 30 feet to the breakthrough point, you say, checking the laser again. The boss wants it done by Friday. If we rush, we trigger the sensors, you reply calmly. Or we hit the water table. If water gets in, we drown. Do you want to explain to the boss why his $2 million investment is full of mud? The enforcer stays quiet. He knows you are right. This is the power of the expert. In a world of violence, competence is the only shield you have. The most dangerous moment is the breakthrough. You have calculated the trajectory to end up exactly under the bathroom floor of a warehouse in Otay Mesa, California, on the American side. The cartel rented that warehouse 6 months ago. But if your math is wrong, even by a degree, you could pop up in the parking lot. Or in the middle of the street. Or into a sewer line. You stop the heavy machinery. The last few feet are dug by hand, with trowels. You are inching upward. You drill a tiny pilot hole, just the width of a pencil. You push a fiber optic camera through. On your screen, you see darkness. Then, a beam of light. You see the underside of a concrete slab. You check the markings. It's the target. We are there, you whisper. The relief washes over you, but it's instantly replaced by dread. The job is done. The tunnel is operational. Now comes the logistics. The rails are greased. The carts are loaded. The first shipment is ready. It's not just cocaine anymore. It's fentanyl, methamphetamine, heroin, high-value, low-volume products. One cart can carry $2 million worth of fentanyl. The train runs back and forth, 24 hours a day. It is an underground river of money flowing north, and a river of cash and guns flowing south. You stand back and watch the machine work. It is perfect. The ventilation is humming. The lights are steady. The structural integrity is 98%. You have built a marvel of engineering that spans 2 countries, completely invisible to the satellites, the drones, and the patrols above. You should be proud. You built a bridge where they built a wall. But then, the enforcer taps you on the shoulder. The boss wants to celebrate, he says. Big party in the warehouse. You feel a cold knot in your stomach. You know the history of this business. The engineer knows everything. You know the location of the entrance. You know the exit. You know the blueprints. You are a loose end. Historically, the architect of a tunnel doesn't get a bonus. He gets a permanent residence inside the structure he built. You look at the tunnel walls. You know exactly where the weak spot is. You designed it that way. A specific beam, 50 yards back, that supports a pocket of loose sand. If you hit it with a sledgehammer, it triggers a controlled collapse. It would seal the tunnel instantly. You look at the enforcer. You look at the exit ladder. I just need to check the ventilation fan one last time, you say. It's rattling. The enforcer hesitates. He looks at the ladder, then at you. He nods. 5 minutes. You walk back into the darkness. You are not walking toward the fan. You are walking toward the beam. You are a civil engineer. You build things to last. But you also know how to take them down. In this world, the only way to resign is to bring the roof down with you. This is the Underground Explainer. We have moved the product under the border. But once it hits the streets, who protects the territory? Next time, we enter the war zone. POV, the cartel hitman. Subscribe. Or the tunnel might collapse on you.